In the year of our Lord 1850, on a warm May afternoon, nature seemed to beckon a smile from every soul. Golden rays lit a landscape alive with vibrant wildflowers, their fragrance carried by a gentle southern breeze. Just 1 month and 28 days into my marriage, I found myself at home, tending to household chores on that fateful Sunday afternoon. As I worked, movement outside caught my eye. A small herd of deer stood motionless near the house, their gaze fixed on the horizon. My hand instinctively reached for my rifle, temptation tugging at me to seize one for supper. But then I saw it, a billow of dust rising like a storm cloud against the azure sky. My heart quickened as I discerned a large band of Indians moving swiftly toward our home. My wife, Lucinda, my parents, and 10-year-old sister-in-law, Maya, were all inside. I bolted to the cabin, my thoughts racing faster than my legs. Bursting through the door, I found Lucinda already at the window, her sharp eyes narrowing as she studied the horizon. "What's happening, Will?" she asked, her voice steady but tight with concern. "Maya, get away from the window," I barked. Peeking from behind Lucinda, the curious 10-year-old reluctantly obeyed, retreating toward my parents, who sat at the kitchen table with worry etched across their faces. "They're Indians," I said, grabbing my rifle and checking the powder. "A large band, 2,000 or more, but they don't look like they've come to fight." Lucinda squared her shoulders, her jaw set in the determined way I was beginning to know well. "Then let's greet them with kindness," she said firmly. "It may be the only thing that keeps us safe." Maya's small voice trembled but held brave curiosity. "Will they hurt us?" I knelt beside her, resting a hand on her shoulder. "Not if I can help it. Stay close to Lucinda and do as she says." My father, Isaac, spoke up. "Will, don't forget who you're dealing with. Treat them with respect, but stay vigilant." My mother nodded, wringing her apron in her hands. "And pray they see we mean no harm." Outside, the clattering of hooves and murmur of voices grew louder. Lucinda placed a steadying hand on my arm, her eyes meeting mine. "You've got this," she said softly, her words grounding me. As their leader rode forward, flanked by 2 warriors, I stepped into the yard. He dismounted with a commanding presence that struck me immediately. "Captain," he said, extending his hand. His voice was rich and steady. "Me Kawakuchi. White man calls me Wildcat." After a moment's hesitation, I tapped my chest lightly, mimicking his gesture. "I am Will Banta." His firm handshake and steady gaze left no doubt of his authority. But it wasn't his handshake that stayed with me. It was his name, Kawakuchi. The rhythm of it echoed in my mind, carrying a weight I didn't fully understand. "Chief Kawakuchi," I began, stumbling over the syllables. I glanced at him apologetically, my face warming with embarrassment. Wildcat's expression softened slightly, a flicker of amusement in his eyes. "You try. Good. Say again." I nodded and repeated, "Kawakuchi." This time, he gave a small nod. "Good," he said. "You learn." The curtains moved, revealing Lucinda and Maya watching intently, their faces a mix of fear and fascination. The sight of them grounded me, though the weight of uncertainty still pressed heavily on my chest. "I just married," I said, the words spilling out before I could stop them. Perhaps it was the moment, or a desire to convey a connection deeper than fear. Chief Wildcat's gaze softened, a small, knowing smile tugging at his lips. "Marriage strong. Good for life. You protect her." "She protect you, Captain," he said, his words carrying quiet wisdom. Though I wasn't a captain, I understood. The gesture meant acknowledgement. "What brings you here?" I asked, regaining my composure. "Me wanty corn for my papooses." "Hungry," he said simply. Without hesitation, I made my way to the crib and hauled out 10 or 15 bushels. The task reminded me of how much we often took for granted. Lucinda emerged with a basket of food, her movements calm and steady. "For your papooses," she said, offering the basket. Wildcat studied her for a moment before nodding in acknowledgement. She knelt gracefully in front of one of the women from the tribe, extending the basket directly to her. The silent exchange between them was simple yet profound, carrying a depth of respect beyond words. Wildcat motioned me back, raising his tomahawk pipes slightly. "We smoke," he said, extending an offer of peace. "Let us sit," I suggested, motioning toward the shade of a nearby pecan tree. Beneath its branches, the sun's relentless heat gave way to a cooling breeze that eased the tension in the air. Kawakuchi filled his pipe with tobacco, his movements deliberate and ceremonial. He lit it with ease, the flame catching in the bowl with a soft crackle. Taking a slow draw, he passed it to me, his eyes steady, as though assessing my character in the silence. I inhaled cautiously, the warm smoke coiling between us. "Why do you travel?" I asked, breaking the silence. Wildcat's voice carried the weight of survival. "No buffalo," he said. "My people hungry. Too many mouths, too much danger." His words revealed the stark reality. Survival in a land where abundance had long since faded. When the pipe emptied, Wildcat stood and asked, "Which way, Fort Croghan?" I pointed northward. 5 miles. Stay on the road, and you'll reach it before noon." He nodded in thanks, then directed his people to gather the corn with swift, practiced efficiency. Before leaving, he turned back, his gaze steady. "Goodbye, Captain. You good man. You help my papooses." "Goodbye, Chief Kawakuchi," I replied, the name lingering with newfound reverence. I watched their silent, resolute march down the road, a people carrying the weight of history on their shoulders. "You handled yourself well out there," Isaac said, his tone steady, heavy with meaning. "But you've got responsibilities now, Will. A wife to care for, a family to build." He glanced at Lucinda, standing beside me, with her hand resting gently on my shoulder. I nodded, sensing where this was going. "I know, Pa. I've been thinking about that." Isaac leaned back slightly, his gaze sharpening. "Thinking is one thing, but this land ain't kind. It's no place for half measures. What's your plan?" Before I could reply, Lucinda spoke up, her voice calm yet deliberate. "Whatever decision Will makes will affect both of us, Isaac. It's not just his responsibility now, it's ours. Together." Her words carried a quiet strength that steadied me. I glanced at her, seeing the strength in her eyes, and felt both humbled and fortified. She wasn't just my wife. She was my partner in every sense of the word. I hesitated, my stomach clenched, because I hadn't fully spoken to Lucinda about my thoughts. Then I said, "I've been considering the Rangers. Henry's with them. He says it's dangerous, but it's a way to protect the folks out here and make a living." Lucinda turned her gaze to me, her voice softer now. "Will, you don't have to face this alone," she said, her tone steadying me. "Whatever path you choose, it'll be ours, together. But ask yourself, does it align with the life we want?" Her words struck a chord, adding a new layer to my thoughts. I felt the weight of both my father's caution and Lucinda's unwavering support. Isaac's brow furrowed, his voice taking on a wary edge. "Your brother's seen more than his share of troubles, and it's a hard life," he said, pausing to look at both Lucinda and me. "It won't just be hard on you, Will. It'll be hard on her too," he added, nodding toward Lucinda. "Don't think for a moment it's anything less than that, but you've got a big heart for helping others. Well, you're one of the bravest, fearless, and, I might say, reckless men I've ever known. If you're serious, it could be a way forward. Just make sure it's a choice you're ready to live with." Isaac paused, letting his words settle before adding, "You've heard Henry talk about it. You know what he's been through." I nodded, remembering the conversations we'd had over the past year. Henry's voice echoed in my mind, his tone measured and reflective. "The Rangers, it's no easy road. You'll spend weeks in the saddle, chasing shadows. It'll test your body, mind, and faith. But protecting families, it's worth it, even when it costs you." Isaac's voice pulled me back to the present. He said it was honest work, yes, but he also told you what it took out of him. Seeing what others can do to each other, it weighs on a man's peace of mind. "He did," I admitted quietly, "but he never said he regretted it." Isaac gave a slow nod, his expression unreadable. "No, he didn't, and that's worth remembering. If today showed you something you didn't see before, then you've got my support. But go into it with your eyes open. It's a hard life, and it'll test what you're made of." His words settled over me, his gaze never breaking contact, a mixture of caution and support. I thought of Henry, of the stories he'd shared about long patrols, harsh nights, and the constant edge of danger. But I also thought of his pride, the way he spoke of making a difference in a land that desperately needed it. I tilted my head to look at Lucinda, to see what she thought. Her proud smile told me everything I needed to know. She squeezed my shoulder in silent approval. "I think I could do it," I said finally, meeting my parents' gaze. "After today, it feels like the right path." Isaac studied me for a moment before nodding. "It's your decision, son. But know this, if you go that way, you'll need more than a steady hand. You'll need grit, and you'll need to remember who you're fighting for."
On the Texas frontier, life rarely offers certainty. A day that begins with quiet chores can turn into a test of courage and character. It is in these moments, when survival hinges on instinct and heart, that actions carry consequences far beyond the moment. Today, kindness bridged a divide. Bravery tempered fear, and choices set the stage for what's yet to come. But the frontier is unforgiving, and the road ahead is seldom straight. Thank you for watching another Banta story. I hope you enjoyed this glimpse into the trials and triumphs of frontier life. If the courage and choices made in this tale resonated with you, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more stories of bravery, resilience, and the untamed spirit of the Texas frontier. Remember, the frontier was not just a place, it was a test of character, where every decision could change lives and shape history. Some lessons are learned the hard way, but they leave behind a legacy worth sharing.